All right, 5 o'clock on a Monday. You know what time it is. It is time to hit the books, part of the Hammer Betting Network, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joey Knish, producer extraordinaire, Zach Phillips, back with us after a much-needed vacation. And, of course, we got all you guys in the questions and the comments in the chat. Before we get to all that and a hell of a lot more, including a best bet, let me remind everybody that Hit the Books is brought to you by Gillette Razors, the best. Oh, no, sorry. Hit the Books is brought to you by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is to use multiple sports books and always get the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp. BetStamp compares odds across every sportsbook for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Download the app today. If you're looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/hitthebooks, or you can hit the link in the description. If you sign up through this page, it does help support the show. Knish, what's happening, man? I see you were active. There's a couple of newsworthy events over the weekend. You were pretty active on Twitter. What's happening,
you know
man?
what? I've been mandated from the sea level not to discuss that on company airwaves. So, but yes, some interesting times in this country, as always. But hey, the bottom line is another week closer to CFB, baby. So yeah, hey, and if you're a gamer, it was today, right? The NCAA EA Sports dropped today and all that. I've been out of the game a little about the game gaming a little too long, but I know some people were looking forward to that. And hopefully, can get look. Even some people had some old guys like us were getting getting the sticks back and getting into it. So
I've never been in the game when it comes to that, so I like to deal with reality, not fantasy. But I guess I won't go on. I think it's kind of sad that 40-year-old plus guys are getting all excited about a video game. Our grandfathers fought in wars for us to have 40 to be talking about arguing over player ratings in a fucking video game. Jesus, it's not my cup of tea. But hey, everybody has their own thing. Kudos. I think you can be more productive in life than that. I don't know. That's just that's not going to be that's not going to be a warm welcome take, considering how popular this video game seems to be. It's tough finding actually college football stories. Everything's on this video game.
yeah.
So like 247 individual sites, like 10 stories. It's either recruiting or this EA Sports game. I mean, there's nothing like on the upcoming season right now, it feels like, with the exception of some breaking news from just about an hour ago. Jeff Tedford, Fresno State head coach, dealing yet again with some health concerns. He's going to step aside, and we'll just get right to it. Trip in the chat. Does the Tedford news trigger a bet for me with Fresno's win total? It did. I bet under 8. Not a big bet, but a bet that I made. Tried to get 8.5. Somebody beat me to that at Willie Hill Caesars. That was like 8.5 minus 160. Did not get to that quick enough, but I think under 8's positive EV. Not a big one, but a bet that I made after I read that news.
Yeah, I agree. I took a little position as well. I was able to find a juiced 8.5, but nothing. Again, on just the head coach ones, just like we talked with Utah State and Blake Anderson, those aren't ones that I like to unload on.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of just as we saw, we've referenced Northwestern a few times last year. I think a lot of times when the rest of the staff remains in place, unless you've got a head coach with a huge, a big time advantage guy like a Kalen DeBoer or something like that who missing the season would be more to one. And again, I like Jeff Tedford.
Like a Lincoln Riley calling plays on offense.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it could be a little bit of a downgrade there, but I think Fresno will probably be all right for the most part. Again, same thing. Like if you lost a starting quarterback or something for the year, those are the ones that I think matter a lot more than head coach. But hey, I can't say it doesn't mean anything. And then a little bit of kind of where does Fresno go from there in terms of the transition? I know Tedford kind of brought them back to relevance, where Tiger came back. So I don't know. They haven't. It's a school that should be very year in, year out, super competitive in the Mountain West because they have a recruiting base when a lot of the other schools do not. They haven't really, outside of Tedford been finding that to me is a great up and comer job. Like that is a job
I agree.
Especially with the current state of the Mountain West. If you're trying to make like the level jump before Power 5, that's a job you can win 10, 11 games at.
No, one of the big boosters at Fresno.
Okay.
And people probably won't believe this story, but whatever. I can only tell you what happened, my side of it. When the Tedford, when he got rehired, they asked me, this guy, particular power player, asked me, for a list. I gave him the guy number one on the list. I gave him was Troy Taylor at the time. He was coaching Sacramento State. I was like, that should be the guy you hire. So I think they made a mistake. Should have hired him instead of hiring. Not that, obviously Tedford did bad in the second go around. I was worried about the health, and you were not in today's day and age of college football is not to jump back into if you're an older guy that has health problems. It is a young man's game right now, to say the least. So it'll be interesting. I'll see I'll let you all know if he reaches out again. But you're right. I think it's a really good job. I thought I haven't even looked at the same interim as the bowl game, because he did a really good job. I mean, he beat expectations. They hammered New Mexico State in the bowl game when Tedford stepped away even for the bowl game this past year. So I'll read more. But again, that made me go under, and mainly because UNLV, Washington State, Air Force, there's like 3 or 4 swing games on their schedule. Obviously, there'll be underdogs at UCLA, and then the big underdog roll week 1 against Michigan. So that's kind of why, a couple of them games maybe swing more towards dog instead of favorite roll. Not that a head coach is worth 3 or 4 points, but maybe a point since he was heavily involved as far as play calling. All right, let's just jump in the chat. It's active, to say the least, today, unless you got any newsworthy stuff that happened in the last week for you.
No, nothing. You just say, it's a little slow, to be honest with you right now. I'm filling tennis and soccer leagues from the middle of nowhere. So I'm happy to talk more college football. I'll say that.
Charlie in the chat, thoughts on Georgia Tech, Florida State, hoping for a 14 on GT. Looks like it's drifting the other way. I need a 14. I mean, if push came to shove, I'm going to lean Georgia Tech right now. But I haven't made a bet on that game yet. I think you were asking me like 6 months ago, I want to say, about what my numbers were, because you were looking to bet Georgia Tech. Am I right in recalling that?
Yeah. No, I do recall, because this was one we had like the early, like when these lines came out, like in the, I think there was.
I think it came out like during the national title game. That's how long some of this stuff's been out.
But it's one. I agree. They're like, would love a 14. Don't think it gets back to 14. Probably sits in the zone between, here 11.5 and 13. If the game was tomorrow, would I bet Georgia Tech 13? Probably small, smaller. Again, it's one I don't love. But it's one of those that, that'd be the way I was leaning. But again, early in the market, maybe as we get closer, more liquidity, we'll have some differing opinions. There'll be some people that like Florida State in this game, and we'll get there. But for the most part, I'm just kind of letting this one marinate where it's at for the moment.
Kyle in the chat, Mississippi State over 3.5 minus 168. Decent chance they start 3-0 and have UMass on the schedule and Arkansas at home. DK has 4, other books 4.5. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of difference of opinion. Got out to 4.5. I think Mr. Pitching Intent gave out under 4.5. So that's why I think FanDuel jumped to 3.5 minus 168. As far as I would play over 3.5. That's just me. I think the offense is going to be better than expected. But man, it's a first-year coach with 0 returning starters on offense. Tough. I mean, there's just not a lot of games. It's not like they have 5 or 6 winnable games. It's really like 4, maybe 5 if you're super optimistic about the team. So there's not a big window there. I mean, they're going to have to they're going to have to, almost be perfect in those winnable games, because they're going to be a significant underdog in like 7 games this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that, it's funny, we talk bandwidth of where teams can go, and it's usually teams at the very high end, the very low end of the spectrum of like, is teams going to win 2 or maybe 3 or 9 or maybe 10? That Mississippi State kind of falls in that, where you'll probably know by September 14th what this is gonna do, because their conference schedule is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So they got no favors in this SEC schedule. you could talk me into that. They have, 2 winnable SEC games. And then, what are they going to do in the conference? They obviously, you should beat Eastern Kentucky, but then,
not like Arizona State and Toledo are slam dunks. I mean, I think they split those games, honestly.
Like, it's not like you probably, if you're going to hit that, over 3.5, especially over, you need those 3. And I would say, I mean, worst case 2 of the 3, but probably all 3, and then the UMass game. And then maybe you pick up an SEC win somewhere along the line. But yeah, I'd lean that way on the 3.5, but it's one that, like, if the number probably should definitely be 4. If you played over 3.5 at a good price, if you played under 4.5 at a good price, that's one of those. It's kind of one of those that I think without any, if you're talking about where should the number be, should be right at 4. So I don't have a strong opinion outside of that unless you're getting 3.5 or under 4.5 at a good price.
Yeah, and 3.5 juice minus 168 is getting near range. Where, I mean, if you factor in the juice, that's close to 4. So I mean, full disclosure, because I'm sure people bought my preview. I bet over 4 when the market was. I mean, the entire market was 4.5, and it was pretty much close to the spring game. And I watched the spring game. I'm like, this offense can do some stuff, but right now my numbers pretty much have it at 4. So again, under 4.5, over 3.5. Shop around.
I did bet. There was one there was like the game of the year on the Egg Bowl. Just took a price. It was like 21. And I listen, this is maybe I'm I know you're wearing the Rebs hat today. Maybe I'm too anti-Kiffin. Just the way that series usually plays out. Bet some 21 and 20.5 there. In that one for game year play. So yeah, like you on the other side of there?
No, I took 23.5.
Oh, you son of a yeah.
I think my numbers don't call for it, but I just think, man, a lot of them rivalry games, I just throw it out. I think I see some people were betting Michigan State, and then Circa came in with like a 4-point lower number when they released the game of the years. But yeah, you could some of them rivalry games when you get above 3 touchdowns. I mean, just give me the dog. And again, Kiffin, we'll see how motivated they are. Mississippi State is going to be wide open. I like the Levy higher. So long term, 18.5. There you go. Getting some CLV, Mr. CLV.
Hey, that's what we do on this show. We got to cash more tickets, but the CLV is usually never a problem there. That's one. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you get over 3 touchdowns in a game where you can, like, first year, you're just going to be able to go, empty the playbook type of thing. And I think that, it's lended itself to be more competitive than that type of rivalry. So I don't think Ole Miss is that far and away in the stratosphere where you can't compete. Like last year, you used the Michigan State. Last year was the first time in 15 or 20 years where one team's been national title elite and the other team's been like, a dumpster. So, and that's the only time you've seen that type of spread where, the game's 40 points. So yeah, I agree. Anytime it's reasonably, their teams are in the ballpark, I like the points in that type of scenario.
Cree in the chat, do you guys have this is a good question, overarching question. Do you guys have a separate bankroll for futures? Trying to figure out how much money I can have tied up until December. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea to have entirely separate bankrolls. Hey, this is how much I have for the season. Here's, how much I have set. I'll say this. The lines are starting to get worked into shape, to say the least. If you're jumping into futures now, I'll just say you're a little late to the party. I wouldn't be going too overboard now. I mean, would you concur there?
I would concur. Yeah, I agree. And you know what? The wait, how am I going to phrase this? If you're going to wait closer to the season, you would be one of those people that needs so much liquidity, like your portfolio or your bankroll wants to be able to get a large position on a lower ROI. You shouldn't be asking that question if it's like I gotta decide what I'm gonna bet on there. At this point, if you haven't already taken positions, then I would say leave the majority of your bankroll for the week in, week out stuff, or maybe some futures throughout the year, picking up some Heisman or some make the playoff that portfolio. So yeah, at this point, I wouldn't go too crazy, but yeah, if you've got a, if you want to go early enough, then yeah, set aside a percentage that you feel comfortable, and get in what you want.
Yeah, I mean, just to put in perspective, I'm like 250 plus bets in. I don't expect to have too much more other than just betting news like today, Tedford stuff. And I need stuff like that to bet now. So that's all I'm really betting is news now. I'm not just blindly going out. Oh, I look like I got a good, sizable advantage in this win total market right now. Win total's been up for months.
Yeah.
So I think that value there is getting dried up. So there'll be other stuff opening up. We got, keep in mind, there's like 50 or 60 FBS versus FCS games. That'll be a new market coming up at the end of August that you can, take advantage of and just bet news as it's breaking. Those would be the best ROI decisions you can make right now. Let's get rolling. I do see this live. Did you see this? 200 likes. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We'll live stream you building a dynasty at Ball State.
I was going to say, well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I especially after that anti-gaming, I've got to save the show on gaming. Where I know I got to buy a P. I didn't even know this tells you how washed I've been in gaming. I didn't even know what the current rev of the Xbox was that I needed to even play it. So
I don't think you can do it on Xbox One.
No, it's like the Xbox. I think it's like Xbox 25 and that. This is
Is it available? I don't even. What's PlayStation up to now? 5?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, what's the latest? I don't know that.
Yeah, I am
that's
so
all
clueless.
You need to know about the gaming knowledge of this show. But yeah, listen. I'm a company man. Whatever we got to do. If it's the plays start going south, maybe I'll start live streaming. Me beating up on Cal at late at night here and on a live stream. So
yeah, we're gonna find out. We got a post show meeting with Moretto. He's gonna tell us, "Hey, we got another new sponsor, EA Sports."
yeah. Zach's gonna have to scrub this episode from the.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scrub this one, folks, because I did not give a glaring review. I'm not gonna change it. I think it's sad when you're in your 40s. How about take your son out to play a game of catch? My goodness. I just think it's pathetic. If you're 20 and you're excited and you never had the game released and you can't remember, by all means, man, you should be pumped. But if you're in your 40s, oof, sad stuff. Bills suck. 565 in the chat. Like the over in the Boise State Georgia Southern game. What do you think? Both offenses can put up points and run tempo. Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm a little leery of betting a lot of overs right now, unless there's like a fundamental change that wasn't like properly priced. Like Pittsburgh's going to run tempo and coming off a slow tempo team. Right now, I would say I'm not running the window to bet some overs just because I wait on weather. Because I got a great bet there, and then the weather forecast come the weekends, 20-mile-an-hour winds for that game, and then I got nothing. So I'm not there yet when it comes to betting a ton of totals.
Yeah, no, this is one. I could see Georgia Southern having a little trouble with that Boise defense in terms of their system in there. So
yeah, they got a new quarterback. I don't know, and who knows on the Boise State quarterback? Yeah, I'm super high on Boise. But let's see him play Malachi Nelson or if the other kid's even healthy. They got some talent there, but I don't know yet.
Yeah, it's just one of those, high 50s number that I'm not dying to play at the moment. So I would say just the same thoughts as you, just kind of neutral at the moment, not trying to get involved on that one.
I am involved on the side, though. I laid it with the favorite. So I am big on Boise this year. RW fan in the chat. Thoughts on Coastal Carolina under 6.5 wins? That was a market influencer today. You know who he is. Bet that. I don't disagree. I bet over 5.5 6 weeks ago. So you're gonna hear us say this. It doesn't sound like much, but people are gonna have position over 5.5, under 6.5. A win is everything in a lot of this. So
yeah,
I don't have a problem with it. I made it 6. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if just to be full transparency, I bet some over 5.5 with BP. A month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and then bet some under 6.5 earlier today. So And hey, it is what it is. I agree with you. Where that, as you said, a full win is everything in the regular season win market. So it's just one of, if you got in front of it or were part of it, with the 6.5, would I chase it now or bet anything around a flat 6, that type of thing? It's I wouldn't go too heavy on the juice for that one. So to me, that would be one that, again, if you got into it a little early, it didn't move that drastically, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these are more mature. So yeah, I kind of prefer our over 5.5 position. But yeah, I don't blame you if you've got still a 6.5 at reasonable juice.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I'm just looking at their schedule. I got like 8 of their games priced, a touchdown or less. So it's going to come down to that. I think the quarterback position's not going to be as bad as people are making it out to be. Keep in mind, McCall didn't play most of last season, at least the last 6 games. The Vasco kid looked all right getting in that system. Am I a big fan of Beck long term? No, but I got to be honest with you. They didn't have much to play for in that bowl game. They went across the world, halfway around the world to Hawaii, where we're what 10-point underdogs in that game. Beat San Jose State from start to finish for the most part of that game. So I was impressed that they got that bowl win, and their season wasn't lost after McCall got hurt. So yeah, I'm okay with it. They are a little depth shy though, so they got to stay healthy. There, Zach in the chat question there about what a win is worth. A full win is worth, oh my goodness, well over 100 cents. In fact, probably closer to 150 cents.
Yeah.
That's how much a full win is worth. So it's pretty substantial. I mean, just
even a little more when we're talking about those low bandwidth teams. Coastal Carolina right at 6 is going to be a little less. And as Brad said, all those games power rated within a touchdown. So you're going to get more variance. Even more when you're talking about a team like Georgia, who's got, 8 games they've got no shot of losing. And then, a 3-game window where that actually matters. So yeah, definitely $1.50 is kind of your average, but you got to shift it in terms of how much variance the season has or where it's at.
Couldn't have said it more. At the polar opposite ends of the spectrums, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Oregons up top, imagine the difference between 10.5 and 11.5 on those. And then at the bottom, people were asking me today, like New Mexico, I thought you liked New Mexico. You got them an underdog in every game. Well, there's a big difference between a 1.5 win total and a 2.5 win total. Pretty substantial. I like my over 1.5. Would not be betting at all a 2.5 win total. So yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself there. At the ends of it, might be more closer to 200 cents because there's just not very many games where it could swing, just a few. D-Lee in the chat. Brad, can you talk UTSA game week 1? Notice a massive difference in the market in your numbers. Also saw Circa finally moved off Penn State 12. Did the boys fire again? Yeah, I can't believe that kept sitting there. That actually worried me. I'll attack the ladder, Penn State. I mean, I fired on West Virginia plus 12. Not a big bet, but a bet that I made. So I haven't looked at Circa today. I've really been at the screen all day. UTSA, I mean, the big overlay there just because Kennesaw State's their first FBS game. It's pretty substantial that obviously I bet UTSA in the game. I go back to last year where Sam Houston State was laying like 3 touchdowns to Kennesaw State. I know Kennesaw State almost won the game, but UTSA would be laying 3 touchdowns against Sam Houston State. So yeah, that one, that's pretty mispriced. I mean, I'm closer to that 27 range there. That's you can do with that information what you want. Now, Kennesaw State runs option a little bit, pistol option. They slow it down. I don't like laying points a lot in those situations, but I could only bet UTSA. I'm sure that's your biggest bet of week 1, right, Knish?
I love me a good triple option, but I would lean that way. I do think also UTSA, unlike a lot of G5 teams, kind of has that that size and depth in the trenches that I would say a lot of the G5 teams don't have to be able to counter the option. But I agree with you. That's one
good point.
It's one of those where they can slow it down, ugly it up, but it's seen. And Kennesaw State for a couple of years had the team to like a pretty, I would call it an elite FBS level. the last couple, though, especially last year, they weren't actually that great.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, their only 3 wins were against D2. And when I mean D2, I don't mean FCS. I mean Division 2, the lower level than even the FCS. I don't think they were trying. So it's really tough to get a power rating. You're right. They were at a top 10 FCS level for several years. Then they dipped to like 5 and 6. And then last year, I don't even think they tried. So very tough to get a market reading on them.
Yeah, because it's that one thing where you want to what Sam Houston did when their first year or they were coming up. It's like they sit all these guys so they don't want to lose a year of eligibility, and then it's a very, very hard to price type of thing. But yeah, that was like their worst year in a long, long time. So yeah, I think just raw numbers, you'd be like, oh, this should be a burial. But I think you're not totally sure what you're going to get from Kennesaw State in this game.
I haven't touched Kennesaw State's win total. It's at 2.5. Even though I don't have them favored in any game, even though they play an FCS opponent too. There's a little too much uncertainty there for me. D-Lee in the chat. I did not know this. This must have just happened today. And if D-Lee, you're still in the chat, when did this drop? Westgate, massive game of the year menu. Did you know about this?
No.
I heard it was going to happen last week, and I've been checking every day. Today, of course, I didn't look at it. I'm sure they gave out like 200 games. So I had not looked at it yet. I will be diving into that as soon as this damn show's over. So I say that wink, wink, kidding, but I will be taking a look at that because there'll be a lot of virgin numbers because I'm sure they'll have probably at least 50 games that haven't even hit the board yet. So I'm not there yet. I'll say this, and people will get after me. I don't care. I notice things. They never release those until the guide comes out. Never. It's always the day my guide comes out is the day those get released. 3 straight years. This being the third. See how I tweeted that today, and all of a sudden those things are up? Coincidence? I don't know.
Well, look at that. I was gonna say here.
So people will say, no, I'm telling you, 3 straight years within 24 hours of me tweeting or sending out the guide, those get popped up. So I think that's funny. You don't believe me? I was just telling somebody about this last week. You can ask them.
No, I like that. They have posted on there. We'll have to see. I haven't looked at it either, to be honest with you.
I'm sure there'll be some. I'll tell you what. I'll tweet some out. So you know what? I'll tweet out a ticket or 2 tonight. How about that?
There you go.
So look for that. Thank you for D-Lee. Thank you for that, for reminding me on that. Lion in the chat. Would also love to hear thoughts. We gave him on Mississippi State. We think it should be 4. Shop around. Over 3.5, I think is fine. Under 4.5, I think is fine. We'll be favored in 5 games. I will say that. I don't have him favored in 5 games. I don't have him. I'm down on Arizona State this year, but I don't have him favored on the road at Arizona State. I got him like a 2.5 point underdog there. Eastern Kentucky, Toledo, UMass, those 3 games. Underdogs at home against Florida and still an underdog against Arkansas. So, be careful with that one. Ryan T in the chat. Thoughts on ULM under 1.5 conference wins? That was a market I bet a little into in the last week. I saw DK put these up. I could see that. The only favorite role for UL Monroe is the FCS game against Jackson State. So I don't know if I can see 2 conference wins. I will say their entire roster is different. A lot of portal guys, a lot of JUCOs. Could be wild. I was pretty down on Texas State last year, and look what happened with them. 1 year later, I'm betting them to make the playoffs. So it's with these rosters that completely change overnight. I mean, you can look really sharp or really stupid. So I did not bet ULM's win total yet, and I didn't even bet the conference win total. That's not one that I made.
I saw a friend of the show was on the ULM season total under today.
Really? Who was that?
Yeah. And hold on, I'm just trying to make sure.
Are you sure?
I could be wrong.
Oh, maybe your friend, not friend of mine.
No, I could be wrong here, but again, just conference win wise, It's going to be real tough. I don't hate the under 1.5 play there. I will tell you that. Even in their non-con, Jackson State, obviously, a talented they're going to have a rough go of it. So yeah, I don't hate the under 1.5 there, or if you can find 2.5 in terms of full season wins, because
1.5's on the conference wins. That's good. I would lean under 2.5 too. I mean, look at how that's priced. That's priced like 2. And again, I'm telling you, their only favorite role is non-conference Jackson State. So that's a good one. I did not see that. So Ryan, I think that's thumbs up. I wish I would have gotten to that. I'm sure it's gone now the way we advertise and people move our stuff. Ryan in the chat, Brad bullish. Why am I bullish on Ball State? Bet the board was pessimistic. I don't know if I'm, bullish. I just, market's painted 4.5, and I circa opened 3.5. I bet over 3.5. I didn't overthink it there. By the time circa, I think, posted their season win totals, it was already, in my opinion, starting to get to a mature market where 10 books are already up. And if it's painted 4.5, and sometimes you got to respect that, some of the sharper books, when they make a little bit of a line like that, other instances, I'm like, nah, you guys shouldn't be shading that like that much. You shouldn't be shading a full win-off market at that point. So yeah, I bet over 3.5 on Ball State. You're right. I think this is Mike News last year. Defense takes a big step back, but I think they'll be okay offensively.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they definitely won't have the same level of defense.
No.
But yeah, I don't. It seems like that's just not able to replicate at the MAC level. But again, I don't think it'll be a total fall off. And as you said, offense may be a little bit improved, but they're kind of in that. There's like 6-7 teams in the MAC, kind of in that middle of the MAC mixer. That I would just put them in where you could see. I could see 4 wins, I could see 7. So, and I feel like that about like 5 or 6 MAC teams. So. That's going to want to throw them. Wish I had stronger takes there for you on the MAC, but it feels like there's kind of that jumble of.
Well, I don't even think the top's any good this year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that's fair. Man, the whole conference is one big, one big dump.
It's bad. And Kent State and Akron are terrible, but they're better than last year. So you're right. It's a big jumble. So I could look like an idiot when it's all said and done in that one. Or like you mentioned, I think there's some variance with some of these teams. That's why. In the MAC, I think I bet 5 different conference futures. That was the most of any conference, because I would not be a bit surprised like a Central Michigan or a Western Michigan or someone like that ends up winning the MAC this year. A lot of parity there. See again. Okay, it's shaded. It's 4.5 shaded under there at FanDuel. I bet over 3.5. That's the only reason why. If it was 4 at that particular book, I wouldn't have bet it. Tom in the chat. And again, when a half wins were 70 cents and people are like, well, your money's tied up, man, I'm not going to make a lot of bets where something's off like 70 cents, even during the season.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not afraid to let my money be tied up. I don't bet baseball. I don't bet basketball. So this is all I'm betting. And so that's why I'm not afraid for them to have my money tied up a little bit. Tom in the chat, Power 5 teams with the widest range of outcomes. Factors to focus on: new quarterback, new coach, joining new conference. I mean, yeah, he's hitting all of them here. Breaks falling off, Clemson. I think some of the new conference stuff, we talked about the Big 12. We just talked about the MAC being wide open. Big 12's the power conference that's wide open. There's a wide range there. But yeah, I mean, portal's like everything. I mean, I tend to take a more pessimistic tone to the portal. But I mean, UCF could be a high variance team this year. Where I bet them under the win total, but I also bet them to win the conference. Hopefully that makes some sense there, because I think they have a high upside with the transfers they brought in, like KJ Jefferson. But I also don't trust Malzahn completely. And when you're relying on transfers, I mean, it could be hit or miss. So I think that's just the new thing when you're talking a wide range of outcomes. I mean, it's all but comes down to the portal at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've both leaned toward being negative to teams that portal. I think the data's kind of proven that out. Teams that are heavily reliable on the portal aren't the teams that are going to overperform. However, there are going to be test cases, as Texas State we've mentioned a bunch of times last year, where it all comes together, and you kind of far exceed your expectation. And a team that you might be 2 touchdowns, 2.5, 3 touchdowns off on. So I would get. I mean, my only advice there would be kind of limiting exposure there. But if you've put all your exposure across, evenly across teams that have been heavy on the portal, and lean towards the negative or the unders or what that, I think you'd come out all right. You're just going to get burned on a couple.
Absolutely. 20MC20 in the chat. Good CLV on all of them, but with a few months more prep, do you guys feel any differently on any of the early bets given out? I'm trying to think. I think we did. You and I did a pretty good job. I don't think I have any regrets on any of this stuff. And we'll have to get a spreadsheet together and go through.
Yeah,
but
Zach he's been candidate-daying all summer, so I don't know if he's got it together yet. But
yeah. We've given out about 10, but my goodness, we gave out Clemson under looks good, Duke under, Arizona under, Michigan State under. I think the only over we gave out was maybe Stanford. Last week was Texas. Yep. I love my personal portfolio. If there's a show portfolio, we can't get much better than what we've been giving out. That's probably why some people are pissed at us, the stuff we were giving out. But is there something that you would regret? I don't. And no, I'll tell it like it. I'm not sunshine and rainbows types of guy. I'll tell you if I sucked on something. I don't think anything we've given out as the best bet's been gone the other way, has it?
No, I agree. I agree. Anything that we've given on the show. Now there are a few head-to-heads between us that I might like to have back by a number. But stuff that we've given out for the people on the show. That no, I think everything's obviously moved the way we wanted to, and I again, just as the ones you listed and the ones I have off my head, there's nothing I'd be like, no, I'd buy out of that or cash out of that or anything. So,
and Cal, did you give out Cal?
Yeah. We had Stanford over Cal under.
Yeah,
and I'm with both of those. So,
yeah, if you've been a longtime listener of Hit the Books this offseason, you're in pretty good shape. We always think that, but I'm telling you, you're in pretty good shape with the win total market right now. According to Zach, we will have an official sheet. He doesn't have a TBA on that, but we will have a sheet of integrity soon on that. And we'll be doing conference previews soon too. I know we keep promising that. We will get to that. Mason in the chat. Chat's active. Let me say this. Our chat's not playing video games right now because it's active. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching when you could be playing video games like everybody else, all the losers. Mason in the chat. Thoughts? I'm just gonna roll with it today.
Right.
Might as well lean into it. That's what I've been told. Lean into it. Take a position. Lean into it. Go wide end of the spectrum. Mason in the chat. Thoughts on Hawaii over 4.5? As of yesterday, they were over 4.5 minus 150 on DK. Circa 5.5 minus 125. I'm on the over 4.5 train. I have made it an over 4.5 bet, and they got 2 FCS games that I think they'll win. They'll win a couple conference games. So I like Hawaii. This is Timmy Chang's best team. I like that they haven't quit down the stretch of either of the last 2 seasons. I got them at 5 and 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you can find a decently juiced 4.5, that would be the way I play it. And you know what? If there's a team, I said that I know they suckered me in last year. But there's the team maybe that has some upside from the mid tier, the bottom tier of the Mountain West.
It's them.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think you could. I think they're the only one I'd put in that category. And again, I'm not.
What about Colorado State?
I have not. I know that was like the sexy pick with the Norvell. He's going to get it going in that. It hasn't. They need a big jump because I will tell you, it hasn't looked great so far. So, I mean, to be honest with you, and I know their totals. I think they're 6.5, kind of on market total 6.5.
I haven't bet it yet. I'd lean under.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not there yet on that. So to me, even though we're talking about, I'd rather bet Hawaii number and Hawaii at the prices than I would Colorado State, to put it like that.
I agree. And Hawaii just beat Colorado State win bowl eligibility last year, final game of the season. And if you want just 20 minutes and watch the last 5-6 minutes of that game, watch it. It's very entertaining. I just tweeted it out like a month ago how ridiculous that the ending was. But Hawaii beat Colorado State. Colorado State had everything to play for. Hawaii really didn't. Hawaii beat them. Couldn't agree more. I mean, Norvell seems like a little aloof. That stuff about Fowler, Nicolosi, the transfer, Kansas State going to pay him $600,000 or whatever. He just seems he's a little weird, man. Got under.
I've seen that guy play, and that'd be about $580,000 too much for him.
I agree. It didn't make sense. They got Avery Johnson. I don't know. That was a little goofy there. I'm not buying him. Under 6.5. Well, we might come back to that later in the show. I'm just thinking. Guy asks, what do you guys think about laying 8 with Colorado's first game? Colorado might want to make a big, bold statement early on. I originally took North Dakota State. The more I think about it, the more I think Colorado's going to end up being the right side there. I've not played it back yet. Full disclosure. Have you done anything yet?
No, I haven't gotten involved on it yet. I know I was less bullish on that game than you with the North Dakota State side. However, we've got to hit on it today because I argued with him for 30 minutes today. After
my God, yeah, get on it. I'm anxious.
All right. The Travis Hunter Heisman. I mean, I told them like I would book. Like, I just don't see it. I'll put it that way. I don't. I mean. He's talking to me about the Charles Woodson. It was 30 years ago. It's 30 years ago. People ran the wishbone then. Nebraska won a national championship running the triple option when Charles Woodson was winning the Heisman. So, like, get out of here with that. I don't buy. If you were giving me like 200 to 1, but Travis Hunter and I know you're Mr. Kyle, but like on a team that what's the ceiling for this Colorado team? 7 wins. Is going to win the Heisman, he would need like video game type numbers, like the my Ball State EA Sports type numbers to even be a conversation. And him at 50 to 1, 40 to 1, no, thank you. I don't see it. I wouldn't even think about it under 100. So I don't see the scenario. Also, I don't think he was caught like trashing other players on the team like yesterday. I don't think CFB voting media really loves Dion, his son, and Travis Hunter. That combo of play. I don't think they're very endearing to the voter base. So no. I'm out on that. I'm out, and I'm way out.
He wanted me to argue with you on this with a pro Travis Hunter take. And I'm just like, no way, man. First off, I was like, what? I was wondering what position you were going to have. Like, you a pro Hunter? And he's like, no, he's Knish is anti-Travis Hunter. Well, that's the correct take. I mean, I think it's a 5-7 football team. So, well, I mean, when's the last time somebody won the Heisman with a losing record? Paul Horning. I mean, 70 years ago. Come on, it ain't happening. I mean, I don't think Colorado wins. I just don't see it. And I'll say another thing: when they start losing games, and they will, because there's not a lot of slam dunk wins on the schedule. They're going to be in a fight for their life every week, in my opinion, good or bad. Gets nicked up. He's got to play a bunch of snaps because the games are close. Gets nicked up. I mean, it ain't like he's got another year of eligibility. Next year's the NFL. I'd be thinking NFL draft. So I don't think he plays as many snaps as last year. I don't think they win enough games. I hate that bet. In fact, if he moves the market so much, and so one of the books gives me a good price in the no, I'm betting the no. So
it's fun because I said that almost to him verbatim of like, I'd rather have the no price if Circle puts it up on that one, just because I agree. Like, I think, and especially as you said, that's a team and that's a coaching staff and a couple guys where if they start losing, I think it totally goes off the rails. Kind of how it did where like Dion's probably going to leave. His son's definitely, both his son and Travis Hunter are definitely leaving after this year, where like, if it goes bad early, I think it goes real bad. And the ceiling, I don't think is high enough to even get him in the conversation. I mean, what scenario does this team win 9 or 10 games? You
bet over 5.5 against me.
but I didn't take the
Yeah, he's
over 8.5.
Yeah,
Plus,
6-6. What's he gonna?
I
Yeah,
don't.
it's gonna have 7-8 interceptions and 1,000 yards receiving.
I don't even know if that does it. Like I don't.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't think so.
so.
I
Yeah,
just,
I
did
didn't
not
like
like that. I told him that too. I'm like, oof.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
I'm usually he's a guy who he made me money on the Heisman. So I usually like his Heisman take. I think outside of that, I agree with the bet so far. That's one I was like, no way.
I love his Gabriel bet. And
Yep.
that one moved the market. Loved it. So if he's listening, I know he is because he's one of our 65 very trustworthy listeners and viewers. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching us again today. We love you, but we do not love Travis Hunter and the Heisman bet.
Also, as you said, his Heisman bets tend to always, you can still find Hunter at some prices out there that were there before it. So I think that if that tells you a little birdie action, that I think that's the only one that he's given out in years that you can still get at those prices or better. So if I was in the trading department, I'd say give me all the Travis Hunter action you want. I'll have the best Travis Hunter price in the market.
Where the Gabriel move was very sizable, very quickly.
Yes.
And that was just like a confirmation for everybody. Oh, we better hit it. It's now or never on Gabriel. Egg in the chat. We're not going to, I'll make this announcement. We're not going to get to all this chat stuff today. So I apologize, guys. I mean, you guys were very active. Egg in the chat. What do you guys make of Circa having Julian saying 25-1 for Heisman? I don't know. I just think I don't know. I mean, you heard anything? I haven't heard anything yet. I'm too busy reading EA Sports player rating stories. I haven't heard anything yet that he beat out Will Howard. I didn't see it with my own eyes in the spring game. I didn't see it from anybody there. So I have like 10 Heisman bets. None of them are from Ohio State.
I swear to God, on the show we talked when he was like 150 or 201 or something months and months ago.
I think you liked it at that one, right?
And I know if I go through my pending, I think I sprinkled it at that price. With that said, I still don't think it. Listen, maybe somebody got some info, went to the place they could get the most liquidity on it and hit it. Maybe it's just people liking that, if he does, just the chances if he does get the job, they bet some higher prices because Will Howard doesn't give you, even he's a guy who I think is solid, but he's not going to give you a Heisman type numbers season. I'd still be surprised if they went into this year where he was the start. I don't see. I don't. I'll put it this way. I don't see them starting the season with saying. So, which again makes his campaign that much harder. Where if you're going to be a couple weeks behind, so yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I would. It wasn't me. I'll say that. I liked it at like the 250-1 or something when we were talking about it months ago, not 25-1. We
got celebrities in the chat. Barry Horse is in the chat. He likes Liberty Conference USA.
The Barry shoe?
Yeah, look at that. I do too. I like it, and I laid it. I made that bet. I just think, obviously, very likely that they're playing in Conference USA championship game. Obviously, it'll be a home game, very likely. Probably a double-digit home favorite. Anything less than 200, good to go. I bet a better price than even that. There's not really what are the losable games on their schedule in conference. They get both the contenders, so to speak. Both of them are at home. They're just generally speaking, Liberty. You're just talking money. They have 2x, 3x, maybe even some levels 5x their salary cap compared to everybody else in Conference USA. It's that big of a disparity between them and the rest of the conference. So agree with Barry.
Let's kill two birds with one stone because I saw somebody ask about them 4-1 to make the playoff. I like the conference. I agree with the Barry Shoe and BP over here. I would lay the conference bet because I think there's a scenario where they go undefeated and don't get in because the schedule's so trash. And the fact that they got absolutely blasted last year. When then people remember that
they have to go undefeated or they have no shot. At App State, would be a decent feather in their cap, provided
Yeah.
App State wins the Sun Belt.
Yeah. So yeah, so to me, I don't want to take 4-1 when I think like there's a shot that they could even like to me. If you're 11-1 Boise or something like that, I don't know. I could see Liberty getting left out. So I if you're gonna bet them, I'd lay the juice on the conference before I'd bet the playoff.
Boom. Good job, Barry Horse. Agree with that bet. Ryan in the chat. Opinions on Boston College over 4.5 minus 150-ish. North Texas 5.5, 140-ish. Lean BC over 4.5. I made that bet, but I wouldn't lay 150, just being honest. I've not bet North Texas yet. Another team, North Texas, this is year 2 under a coach, and they got 55 new guys coming in year 2. They've overturned the roster twice. I mean, I don't know anybody. They don't even know who. I mean, Chandler Morris is going to be their quarterback. I mean, he just got on the on campus in the last like 2 weeks. I just too many questions and answers there. I would be more pessimistic with North Texas than BC.
Me too. That's funny because that's where I was going to go with it. I was not. I haven't go back to my Twitter feed from 2 years ago. I'm not a Chandler Morris guy. From him that first half against Colorado when he looked like crap. And I had a big position on TCU in that game.
The third string quarterback that came in at the end looked better.
Yeah. So I don't think he's any good. I think he was an overrated recruit and it hasn't put in the time to get better. Maybe he's got some, I don't know, he doesn't take the games. I don't know what it is, but I don't like him as your QB going forward. So to be honest with you, I'd lean the other way on North Texas and agree with BP a little bit to the lean of the over on BC, but nothing significant, especially now that it's a little juicy.
Zach in the chat, thoughts on Luther Burden, 4-1 to win the Blitnikoff at a local book. I have not bet them. I'll refer to you because I know you're in touch with franchise on those. I don't know on that one.
I don't love taking, and again, I love his talent, love his skill. The problem with the awards is betting the short guy on the is really like you can get some people out of the woodwork for receiver and running back that can like put up just stupid numbers. And so
Ollie Gordon last year running back.
Exactly. Where it's like, okay, where this now he's putting up, 800 yards a game. So at a 4-1, like, and it's one of those where like, he could have a good year and have like a couple of games where it's like, 3 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. Whereas some other guy from, Eastern Kentucky, he's putting up like, 8,000 yards or something. So I don't love playing the short prices on the awards, especially preseason. So that's one, I didn't really touch those.
Couldn't agree more. I'll be looking fall camp, maybe reading some tea leaves. I mean, look no further than Missouri's team, Cody Schrader being in the mix out of left field. Give me an expansive menu on some of them and let me bet some guys at like, 50-1 or greater that are, I liked what I saw in spring, what I'm reading in fall camp. RW fan 23 in the chat, just a few more guys, and we've got to wrap it up. And we promise we'll, ask it again or ask it on Twitter. We'll get to you. Tennessee under 9.5 minus 155, still worth it. I would make that bet. I don't like 10-2 Tennessee. I obviously don't think they'll win at Georgia. I think they'll be a short home underdog to Alabama, even though that they can win that game. Obviously, I don't think NC State's a slam dunk. I think I have bet Oklahoma and laid points with Oklahoma in that Week 4 game. I think they're clearly right now in the books a underdog in 3 games. Mm-hmm. Is NC State a slam dunk? They've never had great success with Florida. I like under 9.5.
Yeah, I'd lean. This is kind of one I like the team better than I like the schedule. Because I agree with you. They've got. That at Georgia, it's almost like you're starting the year with a loss in pocket there, and then having to go 10 of 11 to hit the over there on the 9.5. So it's I would lean that way too. Not one that I'd want to like lay that kind of juice to get involved in, but I could only play the under. So it hasn't been one I've actually bet, but would lean that way. This is another one. If you gave me 8.5, I'd take over. So I think 9's the right number there, and it's kind of priced in there.
I have laid 160 in that, RW fan. I just looked at my portfolio. So I laid a heavy number on that Tennessee. I made it like closer to, I know there's 8.5s, 9.5s in the market. I would be closer to forget 9. I'd be closer to the 8.5 range. I like that one quite a bit. I think NC State's live in week 2 in that game. Zach's got some records. Conference previews last year. ROI, how about this? 17% on our conference previews, 22 and 21. That wasn't too bad there. I think we hit a lot of conference winners, a lot of season win totals. So I know we had a losing record during the season, but previews were good. We were active. Look at that. And that was late in the summer too. That's not like see, you can see there, that's late July, a lot of them. So those will be coming up. 17% ROI. And what is the S&P 500 historically? 10%? We're 17%. So yeah, we don't mind here at Hit the Books. We don't mind holding up the money when you're getting almost 2-to-1 payout compared to the S&P 500. So yeah, hold up my money when you got a 17% ROI.
Who needs a hedge fund when you got HTB, baby?
Yeah. I mean, we do live for this. And you have more of a betting background, or at least a longer one than me. Obviously a bigger one because you got more liquidity than me. But I have been living in this preview stuff now for like 15 years. I wish I should have been in the betting, but I can break down a team in the off season. I can tell you that. Sometimes my in-season stuff doesn't go as well as planned, but it is what it is. Let's keep it going. Chuck in the chat. Surprised we didn't see the minus 20.5s get taken out. Michigan laying that versus Fresno on the Tedford News. Yeah, I mean, what's a head coach worth? Half point?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, to me, I think especially the head coach, it's more the sum of the part in terms of what we talked about, like a regular season win, as opposed to like an individual game basis.
Man, you're on fire. Couldn't have said it better.
We're going back and forth. This is like
no, that was a very good point. I'd rather I couldn't have said it better. The sum over time, the coach becomes worth more and more and more. Individual game. I mean, look no further. One thing I loved about COVID was, man, we got a really good stuff we've never seen before. Saban's in, Saban's out for a game against like Georgia where it matters. I mean, that market only moved like a point. We're talking Nick Saban in the most important game of the year. He's in, he's out, he's in. I mean, we can see the market moving on something like that. And that was only like a point. So, head coaches' individual games just aren't worth that much. Egg in the chat. Ooh, this isn't going to be good to, start to close out the show. Michigan missed the playoffs minus 130. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, but the early buzz and around the building is things are going to be. I do worry about quarterback. I will say that, but
that's one you got to wait. Another one. Let's see what fall camp's going. I can tell you right now, after a slow start, the Michigan Wolverines are officially on fire in recruiting. So I do. I mean, I follow. There ain't nothing else going on right now. Unless you like video games, recruiting, Michigan is doing well.
This is too in the weeds, but they totally when Harbaugh left. Harbaugh was not it's funny because he had some like weirdo recruiting stories of him like spending a night at a kid's house, climbing in a tree. He wasn't that great at running a recruiting department. They've revamped it and they're reaping the benefits pretty early there. So and also word on the street is Michigan wasn't exactly known for being an NIL factory under Harbaugh, and they've changed that stance. So, and again, not saying it's Texas A&M, but just saying that they're okay paying market rate, if you know what I mean.
I like that. I like that. So why do you follow recruiting? Because man, it's kind of reading the tea leaves. Maybe it obviously doesn't affect this year, but man, you start seeing stuff down the road. Setting it up. So I'll tell you another real quick. Everyone, Nick Saban gone, Alabama. The recruiting's going to take a hit. Have you seen what Kalen DeBoer's been doing on the recruiting trail? Woo! Roll Tide. They're not going away, folks.
No,
they're not going to win 6 national titles in 15 years. But if you think they're going back to 8-4, you better get your kicks in this year because after this year. It's back to they're going to be a tough out, to say the least. Swammy Sosa in the chat. Olympic bets. Are you going to make any appearances on that? Have you heard anything on that? When does that start? Next week?
I think about 2 weeks or so here for the. I'll try to have some to be able to give out on next week's show. I've been hitting. I've got my network working on it here, so I'll be running around filling some Olympic bets. But yeah, I'll try and have some on the show. I know. I saw somebody, Chuck asked about home run derby. I got nothing. I was trying to get a couple people under me to work on it, and nobody put in the effort for it today. So unfortunately, don't have nothing on the derby.
That's tonight.
Yep.
That shows you how much I've been paying attention. Wow. That used to be something. That you look forward
used to be.
Yeah. A lot of used to be's. Fabulous one in the chat. And we'll wrap it up with this one or the next one. I know we faded Iowa a lot last year. Given their schedule, heavily juiced over 7.5 or moderately priced over 8 look appealing. Yeah, we talked about this. I'm not there, man. And I tweeted today, teams, these are the teams I have favored in every game this year. These are the teams I have favored in 11 of the 12 games this year. I have Iowa favored in 11 of their 12 games. However, you put that into, give them, if they're 3-point favorite in this game, you give them so much of a percentage of a win for that game. It's still, even with them being favored in 11 of 12 games, comes to like 7.6. So no, I'm not betting over 7.5. I earlier bet under 8 earlier this summer. I'm not buying Iowa. I'm not there. Are you? I know you're not.
Oh, no. I'm just the tent is blowing me up to add on my phone here about the trolling on the show. But no, I'm like, listen, if you want an anti-Joey K team and I know people are buying, this is one that I tell you what, I will probably be looking because I know some others in the market have been betting over on this. I'm going to be probably looking, right before the season starts to play back under. And I get the schedule sets. Listen, if you're saying with some of the power in the schedule, it's just a team that overall the roster, the program, the quarterback room, I don't believe in. And I think they're due for big regression after last season. And as you said, like Cade McNamara, I don't even know if he's I don't even know if he's going to be healthy enough to start the season. I don't like the Cole Sullivan kid. I don't like anybody they have on offense. Like one guy, that one receiver they got from Ohio State, the one transfer. They have
He's okay.
Yeah.
The Shea, if he's healthy at tight end.
Yeah.
I don't think the offensive line is anywhere near what it's been 5 years ago. This is in the weeds. But they get further and further removed from their strength coach, which was a top 5 strength coach in college football. And it just, you see stuff like they can't Iowa can run the football, at least offensively. Now all of a sudden they can't run the ball. And we saw it with Stanford, had an elite strength guy. The guy under Harbaugh stayed on for like the first 5-6 years under David Shaw. Then for whatever reason got fired. Oh, what's happened to Stanford football? Well, year after year after year without that top 5 strength coach in the country, you started to see they couldn't run the football. They weren't as physical as they were used to be. So, keep that in your back of your mind when you're looking at that, especially in today's day and age. Strength coaches are everything.
Totally agree.
That's what it's like year 3 or 4 without that strength coach. I know he's a racist and whatever, but he was pretty good.
Especially when you want to be a program like in Iowa or what happened at Michigan, when you want to be a physical trenches with that makes all the difference, especially at the program like Iowa, where you've got to take these 3-star linemen and turn them into 20, 21-year-old guys who are maulers and that. If you don't have the strength program right, when you can't recruit the highest level, you're not going to be where you want.
What's our best bet? Is it Liberty?
Do you want to? Oh, we could steal it from the Berry Shoe there. You could jump in there. I like
what do you got?
No, I what you were saying earlier on the
Colorado State?
Yeah, the Colorado State. I like both.
Colorado State under 6.5 wins.
Yeah.
Boom. I made it 6. I'm not buying. I didn't like with the press conference from this past week. He just seems goofy. I know they got some talent there, but Fowler and Nicolosi's got to seriously clean up the interceptions. They don't have the tight end like they did last year. Yeah. The one guy on defense that was elite, Kamara on the defensive end, he's gone. I obviously think they lose to Colorado in week 2 or week 3. I think that one is. I like Hawaii more a little bit. I think San Diego State would be a little bit better than expected. So, and obviously they're still behind the Boise States of the world in conference. So, Colorado State under 6.5 wins. Love it. Here we go. What is this?
Is this the one? Is it the one?
Oh, 1-year anniversary of you with New Mexico State.
What a call there by RW. I mean, RW, I got to give you credit that it actually is the 1-year anniversary of the Aggie Nation, New Mexico, Las Cruces run. That was a fun. I tell you, that was a fun one. I'll say it. Don't think they're going to repeat this year. I'll say it. No, I'm not sure they're getting to the title game again this year after this offseason. So.
No, they're not.
Hope you enjoyed it last year in Las Cruces.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of 40-1s this year in conference. Have you bet any of those? Do you have them?
No, I remember we had the literally the night came out. I remember talking and being like, man, this sucks.
It does suck. Heisman market, conference win total. I mean, what is going on? Sucks. But what doesn't suck is our Colorado State under 6.5 win total. Best bet on today's show. Also doesn't suck is if you've been watching us all off season, I've told you, I'm just not, talking us up. The portfolio looks really good at this point. Knish has been looking good. Dapper. Look at that hairdo. So he's
after a lot of positive reviews last week, which I much appreciate. Some people hitting the DM. Thank you very much. I know.
Hey, I noticed it right off the bat. I was like, whoa, who the hell is this?
Right. Summer glow up, baby. Ready. We got, especially with the new sponsor that might be upcoming here. We're on the way up. Got to be looking the best, looking sharp.
All right. For the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joey Knish. For producer extraordinaire Zach Phillips, I'm merely Brad Powers. Thank you to all the questions and comments. Sorry we didn't get to them all. We got next week. We'll see you next week, 5 p.m. Eastern, same channel. You just watch Hit the Books, part of the Hammer Betting Network.